said the other day, oh Neil, they said, oh Neil, your live streams appear a little rushed, they said in a comment. I said, no, they're not rushed. They're not rushed. Oh, this one's rushed. Right, give me a minute. Hey. Right, I'm just getting some files ready because I did the last minute. Loon, I'm just going to get some files ready for you, just so we can get something prepared for when we get onto that bit. So I'm getting. Where's some files at? But are you digging the music, mate? You digging the music? Can you hear the music? I mean, the music's just. It's just a bit of. If it's too loud, let me know. The music's staying because it's 2 hours, hour and a half, 2 hours of me talking. It needs a bit of ambience, mate. A bit of ambience. And this is proper radio music where I can't say where I ripped it from because who I ripped it from have more lawyers than a small country. And if yeah, I mean that they probably don't care, but I'd rather they just didn't know. If you know what I'm saying. So, I need an inventor model. It is last minute, I know. Too loud. That better? It's playing through me. It's playing through me TV speaker, so I don't know how. I don't know how loud it is. It's one of those things where I literally created this soundtrack 5 minutes ago, so I don't know. I'll have to play it back when I see this again. So confirm whether or not that's good. And I mean, I can go on camera now, probably. Greetings! Is camera okay? What a week, mate. What a week. A new PC had to be rebuilt again. I think I've got a new rant video coming. Asus. What an abomination of a company Asus are. Can you still hear the music? I can't hear it now, but if you can hear it, fine. What an absolute abomination. RGB in general. But I mean, it's looking pretty smart. I mean, look at that. As far as computers go, I mean, that is the dogs. I'm sure you'll agree. But wow, has that taken up far too much of my life over the last week. 2 weeks? Right, I need some files, mate. What am I going for? Demo sets 2019. Let's get the jet engine. The jet engine's a good one to play with. That's a good inventor model, isn't it? The LEDs, yeah, I know, mate. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Corsair QL140 LED fans, which they do that whole rainbow thing, rainbow wave LED flashing up like some kind of parade, but it's not for me. That, like, it's a bit intense. But what an absolute so here's the story with this, man. I shifted my old PC into this new case. This is really difficult to follow. I'm struggling to follow it myself. I put my old PC into a new case, and I had 3 Corsair fans at the time. And when I shifted that PC into the new case, I bought an additional 2 Corsair fans, so I had 5 fans. And those 2 new fans that I bought came with a new hub, because one does not simply just plug fans into a motherboard. No, you've got to have a hub, obviously. So these 2 new fans came with a hub, a Corsair Lighting Node Core hub. And upon switching on my new fandangled PC, all 5 fans, the 3 existing fans which I've had for 2.5 years that have been working perfectly, and the 2 brand new fans blew out. all the RGB lights, all the LEDs. I mean, they didn't explode or anything. That would have helped, if I'm honest. Like, that would have saved me a lot of time if they had have exploded. But no, they just died dead. It's like a power surge went through this hub and they just blew out the RGB chip in the fans, and they were dead as some dodos. But I didn't know that at the time, because I've got 5 fans and 2 new fans as part of that, and a new hub and a new case and a new install. The amount of variables that I just introduced into that situation was insane. So trying to figure out where the problem was consumed an unreal amount of my time. I had an existing hub with the existing 3 fans, so I put that hub in, thinking, well, maybe the hub's dodgy, the new hub's dodgy. So I put that old hub in, and one does not just simply swap out a hub either. I mean, the amount of cables and tie clips and what a job. I mean, you're talking like an hour and a half, 2 hours just to get these bloody fans in and out. So I put the old hub back in, which was working. Fans dead. So I thought, oh, wow, great. So is this... Why? My 3 fans that I did have, they should work. They were working the day before. So that didn't work. So I had them in another PC. I put them all the way over there into a different PC. Still didn't work. So I thought, right, I'll take away all the new stuff. The 2 new fans that I've just bought and the new hub. Took them out of the picture. I put the old 3 fans in and the old hub dead. And I was like, great. Brilliant. So this new hub has blown out the 3 old fans. And to add insult to injury, I don't know if you can see it because I don't think the webcam's going to stretch that far. Of course, it's not going to stretch that far. Now you can just about see it here. This thing here going up there, that's an LED strip, which goes to different. You can have it go. I mean, you just wouldn't have these silly things. I just prefer it having like one color, like white. But that's an LED strip built into the case. And guess what? That was broken as well. All in one day. And I thought, well, is that linked? Because that strip needs a SATA power cable. And that was on the same daisy chain SATA power cable as the hub. So I thought, has there been a power surge through that SATA cable, which has blown out all the fans and that strip? But of course, I've got no way of testing that strip, have I? I can't. It's not like I've got another strip lying around. So I had I had that in and out. I had pressing the buttons. I was on Google checking to see, is there a secret combination of buttons you got to press to get this goddamn strip to work? And I don't even want them on. Like the strip, I just wanted to be either white or off. But the fact that it didn't work was enough to drive me mental. Do you know what I mean? When you've got something and you don't really care you don't really care that you can't use it as such. You don't really want to have it dancing and singing about, but the fact that it doesn't work and you can't use it if you want to use it is enough to drive you nuts. And that's kind of where I was at last week. The amount of time it took me to figure these fans. I was on Corsair's forum. Oh, what a cesspool that was. I went on the Corsair's forum and I was like, mate, I've got 5 fans, and trying to explain that story on a forum. What? It's just, I've tried this, and then I tried that, then I took these 3 fans out, and I tried them with the old hub, and then I tried the new hub with the 2 new fans that I got with the new hub, and then I took the old fans out and just tried the old hub, and then if I try the old fans and the new hub, and soon it just gets like way too difficult to follow. But I recorded a video of the PC clearly showing that the fans weren't working. And these fans as well have got what's called a hardware mode, which means when you boot your PC up, before Windows kicks in and before Corsair's software has a chance to take over the fans and drive the colour, they've got a hardware profile, which is usually just a rainbow wave. That wasn't working either. That was kind of the giveaway for me that the chip was just blown out. So I recorded a video of that not happening, the fans just being completely dead. They were just black. They were just, a couple of the LEDs were on, but like there was like a dim red LED on one of the fans and maybe a green light on one of the LEDs out of the 100 on the fans was lit up. And then I kind of did something kind of stupid, but kind of not really, because the fans were already dead. So I thought, it doesn't really matter. I took one of the cables out from the fans and I plugged it into the RGB header on the motherboard, which is like a 12 volt header. And I was just like, look, this should light the fan up. And I plugged this one fan into the header. And then that was it. On Corsair's forum, like, oh, you've plugged all of your fans into the motherboard. Oh, we can't help you. Obviously, you've blown all of your fans because you've plugged them all into the motherboard headers. I was like, oh my God, could you be any more annoying? I've literally just plugged this one fan into the header, and I did it like 5 minutes before I shot the video. I've been fighting with this problem for 3 days. So, but no, that was it. As soon as they saw that, they were like, obviously, we don't know what your problem is, and to be honest, that's our escape to not help you. So we're just going to pretend like we think you've plugged all your fans into the motherboard, and you've blown all your fans by doing that. And for God's sake, what an absolute man! And whoa, and that doesn't even get me started on Asus. Asus, right? As much as I love it, so this kind of links into stuff that I'm going to be doing on the channel at some point in the future with PC builds and stuff. I do like Asus products. Like my router is Asus, my motherboard's Asus, various different bits and pieces with Asus. If you ever buy an Asus motherboard, under no circumstances ever download their software. Never do it. It's like legitimized virus. It's like a legitimized, it's not ransomware, but it's cancerous. It honestly, it is cancer. You cannot get it off your PC. Yesterday, I had to do a complete rebuild of Windows, like format the entire PC to get rid of Asus software, because they've got this Armory Crate though. I mean, I know it's a gaming motherboard, but Armory Crate, that's the software that they've got that controls the motherboard. So you buy this motherboard. I mean, let's be honest, like, even as a professional, like, wanting to build a PC, you don't have many options. You kind of have to buy one of these stupid gaming branded boards. I mean, there is the ProArt, there's certain workstation branded boards, but they're a bit overpriced for what they are. So you're kind of stuck with one of these. And the one that I've got's got this, I don't know if you can see it on here. Yeah, you can. See the middle, just under the NZXT logo, sort of around here, that thing there. That, you can't see it on the camera, but that's an LED. An OLED screen on the motherboard, and it reads out the CPU temperature on the motherboard. That's really cool. I like that. I can see the temperature of the CPU through the case on the motherboard. If you want to change that, you've got to download fucking Armory Crate. Why? So you think, oh, well, what's the problem here? What's the problem with Armory Crate? What are you bitching about Armory Crate for? What an absolute stinking garbage pile that is. So you go to Windows Store, right, and you download Armory Crate, and it's beta, so you think, oh, this must be like the latest one. So you download Armory Crate from the Windows Store, beta, and then you try firing it up, and it says nothing works. Nothing works, and you think, why does nothing work? And it goes, because you need other stuff. And you're like, well, what other stuff do I need, Asus? And then Asus just don't tell you. You're like, well, that's really helpful. So you go to their FAQ page, which is just like, it's like everybody in the entirety of Asus was asked, right, think of a problem that a customer might have. Everybody, all 1,000 staff of Asus, think of a problem that any of our customers might have, and then write it on this one page. And that's what their frequently asked questions is like. You're just scrolling through it going, what are these people thinking? Have they ever spoken to another human before? So you eventually find the thing you think you might need, which is called Asus Aura Sync, I think it's called. So you download Aura Sync, and that installs, and it puts on more shit on your computer than you could possibly ever imagine. It puts on plugins for components that I've never owned in my life, like Galax Gamer RGB controllers, Kingston RAM controllers, Patriot M.2 RGB controllers. All this software and drivers are suddenly plugged into my PC, and I'm like, I don't even own this stuff. Why is this on my computer? And then you go into your Windows Task Manager, you look in your processes, and there's just Asus this, Asus that, Armory Crate this, Armory Crate that. You're like, where's all this come from? All I want to do is control the friggin' screen on the motherboard, and all of a sudden you've got so much Asus junk in your Task Manager, and Armory Crate still isn't working. So you go, well, what? And then you Google a bit more, and you find that there's a second Armory Crate. There's a second Armory Crate, would you believe? A second one? So the one on the Windows Store, which is in beta, is apparently not the one you want. No, you don't want that one. They must have just been working on it in beta and then thought, the hell with that one. We'll just give up on that one. And the one you want is actually on the Asus website on their driver download page. So you go to that one, you download that one, and then it installs that one on top of the one you already had on the Windows Store. So you don't actually get a second Armory crate, you just get one on top of the other one, which is the same version number by the looks of it. And then that one starts to work, kind of, but then you're now left with all this. Anyway, once all this stuff sort of happens and your PC starts to bog down and grind to a halt because of all the Asus crap on, you then decide, all right, I'm going to take it all off. Forget about it. Absolutely forget about it. You cannot remove Asus stuff. I downloaded Revo Uninstaller, which is like pretty much all you've got in the world of Windows for blitzing any program safely and cleanly is Revo Installer. I mean, CCleaner is like removing temp files and junk afterwards, like log files and event files. Revo Uninstaller will uninstall a program and then it'll scan all the leftover crap that the developers were too lazy to sweep up themselves. And Revo Uninstaller couldn't even get rid of Asus software. It left on about 4 processes and services in the background, and nothing I did could get rid of this stuff. I just had Asus garbage infected everywhere, and in the end I just thought, you know, I'm gonna have to wipe Windows here because it was conflicting with something else. Thought, what an absolute load of crap. And then that was another 2 days of my life wasted. So long story short, Asus are an absolute abomination. Their software developers really need to rethink their careers and go be milkmen or something, because software development is clearly not for them. So that was today's or this week's fun games. Hi, how are you all doing? That was a 20-minute introduction to my life. I needed to get that off my chest. That was a week of pent-up frustration, anger, hatred towards everyone at Asus. In Corsair, may I add, when I bought my fans, brand new product, these fans aren't cheap. They're £35 per fan. And I bought 2 with a controller. It was £100 for 2 fans and a controller. It arrived dead. I logged a ticket. It took them 10 days to reply to the support ticket. 10 days. In that time. And do you know what they said when they finally replied yesterday to the 10-day-old support ticket? Yes, that doesn't look good. Would you mind trying for us just taking out all of the fans and just plugging one fan in and seeing what happens? I was like, mate, this support ticket's 10 days old. If you don't think that I'm way past just trying to plug in one fan to see if it works after 10 days, then me and you are seriously out of alignment here. Obviously, by this point, 10 days down the line, the fans, I'd already sent them back to the retailer. I don't even have them anymore. These ones, I'd sent them back to the retailer, got a refund and bought 2 new ones, installed them, and they're working now before Corsair had even responded to the support ticket. That's kind of the state of things at the moment. Frippin' ridiculous. On about pressing matters, are we getting new Discord roles yet? Well, you can. I mean, do you need new Discord roles? Are new Discord roles needed? I wasn't aware there was an issue with Discord roles. We can discuss. I was not aware that we needed new Discord. Let me have a look. Because when you switched over from Patreon to the membership program, it puts you in as a YouTube member, I think, in Discord. I'll look at it afterwards. But I'm pretty sure your roles are the same. Are they not? We can talk about it afterwards. But yes, by all means, we can do. Mr. Guy Link, I've tried 6 Asus motherboards and not one has worked. That's not good. That's not a good success rate. I mean, to be fair, like, I haven't had any failures with them. It's just their software has been an abomination. It's just the software. The router, I've got 2 Asus routers, or routers, if you're from the United States of Trumpland. And the routers have been fine. I don't know what else I've got that's Asus. I've probably got some other stuff kicking around. I mean, I don't hate them as a brand, but what an absolute garbage heap their software is. It should be illegal. Because it puts stuff on your computer without you even asking. In fact, like, I'm pretty sure when you boot into Windows, there's Asus stuff on without you even saying, yeah, I'm okay with that going on. I don't know. But a clean boot of Windows and then disabling a load of stuff in the BIOS seems to have fixed it, and the PC's running better for it. But that, I mean, I wouldn't recommend not getting Asus, like, just because of that. All I would say is, look, the board's actually good. It's hardware. The hardware and software in a company tend to be done by different people. So you cannot say the entire company's crap because their software team are incompetent. So the hardware is actually pretty good. It's just avoid the software. Premium, standard, and then just online. Oh, have I got to? Yeah, I can do that. Yeah. I mean, if you want, you can have a think of what you want the roles to be called. Because the memberships are called. Oh, because you're a platinum sponsor, aren't you? I mean, they can just be called the sponsor, and just whatever the memberships are called, whatever they're going to be in the future on YouTube. But, or if you want something more imaginative, we can go for something more imaginative. Yes, mate, we've got roles. I mean, they're not really roles and permissions. They're more just like when you sign up to a Discord server, you get put into a group, and then the group's got it's like a group name. But there's not enough people in the Discord server really to have permissions or anything like that. So, but if you want to have an imaginative name for the groups, then sure, not a problem. This is a professional feature from Asus. It finally switched. That's the thing with a lot of this RGB stuff, though, mate. You can't even turn off the RGB unless you download their software. Like that there, graphics card, MSI graphics card. I can't turn off that stupid rainbow pattern. Can't turn it off. I have to download MSI's RGB software, and then that's the only way I can actually turn off the goddamn lights. I've got to infect my computer with their crap just to turn off their stupid lights. How stupid is that? Who thought of that? I mean, there should be a physical button on the card, or just a cable that I can pull out just to turn off the stupid lights. It's ridiculous. See, the problem with the RGB software, it's like you end up with so much of it. I've got Corsair fans, so you need IQ to control Corsair's RGB. And if you don't download the software, you just end up with a repeat rainbow patterns. It's not like you've got a choice. If you buy in this stuff, you've got to download this crap. So IQ for Corsair. Then I've got an NZXT cooler. So I need CAM for NZXT. And then I've got the Asus motherboard. So I would need Asus Aura if I want to. I've just had to turn off the motherboard, all the RGB on the motherboard, and I can't control my LEDs on the screen. I've just had to just not do it. So that would be CAM, IQ, Asus Aura, MSI Mystic Light for the stupid graphics card. I did have a G-Skill RAM, so that would have been G-Skill was just as bad as Asus. That was awful. So that would have been 5 different RGB softwares I would have needed just to control the daft lighting. And each one of them has their own little special snowflake service. Like, oh, we're the most important software on your system, so our service is okay to consume like 10% of your CPU. Some of them are terrible, like G-Skills. Sometimes it would be fine when you first install it, but then maybe, I don't know, like 3 months later, you just think, oh, my PC's acting like a bit of a dog at the moment. What the hell's going on with it? So you go to Task Manager, and then out of nowhere, the G-Skill lighting service is consuming like 35 or 40% of your CPU. It's just booting off. It's just kicking the hell off for no reason whatsoever. And you're like, what? Why are you acting like this? You're just some lights on the memory sticks. Just calm down. Just calm down and get back into your cave. I just don't care enough. So you just ultimately you just end up taking it all off if you can. That's the thing. It's like you kind of learn from these mistakes. You get all excited with your new stuff, so you install all the software thinking, oh, I'm going to control all this. I'll have like nice white stuff. And then, later on you think, yeah, it was a mistake. I kind of wish I didn't do it. And then you realise you can't actually easily uninstall half this stuff. Right, okay, let's jump into some stuff. Unless there's anything else I've missed in Chatkers. Would have thought the hub would have been to blame. Well, honestly, Adam, the first thing that I thought was it was the hub. But then when I got in touch with Corsair, through the forums, they were like, oh, it can't be the hub. The hub's just a this, that, and the other. But it blatantly was the hub, like. And the LED strip in the case, when I got Lee, it's a Leon Lee case. It was good of them actually. They sent out a new strip. But when I replaced the strip in the first case that I got was installed wrong. It was like sort of installed at a 45-degree angle, so I think it was just bad luck all around, really. So yes, that's been a really fun week. And then with my benchmark test, I'm just not going to get into that. My throat's hurting now already. I'm not going to get into the fun and games I've had with my benchmark. See this face? This is the face of somebody who's had a day, nay, a week of fighting with Inventor and wondering why it's just not behaving itself. Right. So yes, we had a question from Loon, who's trying to render some stuff in VRED because he's trying. I don't know what you do, mate. Is this for sales imagery? So he's wanting to do some sales imagery in VRED of Inventor models, and I've already got a video on it, but we can do it here. So, oh, that's good. Where's my what desktop's that? What monitor is that looking at? I'm looking at VRED on my monitor here, but I can't see it on the stream. So what is this looking at? This is what happens when you rebuild your computer. Nothing bloody works except Game Capture Pro. How do I do this? How do I do this again? Is it over there? Is it down here? I'm so confused. What part of my desktop's that looking at? Like I'm actually properly confused. This picture of a Ferrari that you're seeing on screen right now, I don't know where that is. I really don't know where that is. Oh, there's my mouse. Ah, right, actually, okay. It's cloned the wrong screen. Okay, right, might see some things flashing. Not me. You have to pay to see me flash, ladies. So I think I need a duplicate. I think I need to duplicate screens 1 and 2. There we go. There we go. That's it. I am surprised how fluently that just went. Right, and I've got Sizer all sorted out. There's my Sizer. Boom. Clockwork, mate. Well prepared. No, I'm well prepared. Like a glove. Right. So, what's this up here in the top corner? Is that a bit of text up there? They're nothing but the best. Nothing but the finest production quality around here. Okay, so we're going to be doing some VRED importing of Inventor data. So, like I said, we've got a video of this already. I'll point you in that direction. Is anyone using the new Edge yet? Thoughts? I've been using the new Edge, not the new Edge as in the newer, Internet Explorer then turned into Edge, but the next Edge, like it's brand new in the last 6 months Edge, built on Chrome. I've been using it exclusively for like 3 or 4 months now. It's okay. It's not great. I'm thinking about going back to Google Chrome though. It just doesn't pick up. It just doesn't seem to continue your history very well across devices. Like if you're on your phone, like downstairs, and you're looking at a web page, and then you go up your computer and you want to watch, oh, what was that web page I was on my phone? So you go into your history, it's not there. Sometimes you go into Edge on your phone, and it just, the app just doesn't launch, and you're sitting there looking at the Edge logo, and you're like, come on, you got to reboot. It's just buggy. So I'm thinking about going back to Chrome. Thoughts? Right, where's my video then? So if you want to sit down and watch a full tutorial, Inventor to VRED. That one there. Autodesk VRED tutorial for absolute beginners. It's 53 minutes, but that'll take you through how to bring in an Inventor assembly, start to finish. And that's the one you want. But let's have a bit of playing, see what we can do. We won't be able to do the full lot in the live stream, but we'll just go through a few tips, things that I would normally do myself when I'm bringing Inventor data in. I haven't done it in a while, but should we do the full assembly? Is that going to take too long? It's probably going to take too long to convert, so we'll pick something a bit smaller. Rear compression assembly? Sure, mate. So for most Inventor assemblies on the import box, I normally just leave it as is. I mean, max parallel processes, you can increase that. Sure. At this level, it's probably not going to make too much of a difference. Leave it all as default. I always put center on the origin and then put on the ground. So when it brings the model in, it puts it on the ground plane, and then it centers it in the scene. I'm pretty sure the VRED team have done a lot of work on making sure materials come in and map right from Inventor into VRED materials, but I just never tick this. I prefer to do that bit myself, so I never tick that box. And then import. And then that'll bring that in. Adam, your comment was blocked. I'm not going to say that word because YouTube will transcript it and go, oh, he said a nasty word. He said, demonetize. Yellow badge for you, sir. But yeah, your comment got blocked because you said the nasty word. But yes, I did take that off the panel. I was that prepared. Oh, that's not a very exciting model, is it? Let's bring in something else. That's not very exciting. Exhaust assembly. It would be nice if I could see Can I see thumbnails? Can I? Oh, come on, Windows. What is this about? Painting. I mean, does that make any sense to anyone? Why I have to mouse over the thumbnails to see the thumbnails? No. That one looks okay. That one looks like kind of half the jet engine, the main axis middle bit. I'll bring that one in. Import. And we'll play with that one. That looks beefy enough. Firefox. So you're a Firefox bot. I think I went through a period of a few months of playing with Firefox, but like probably 15 years ago. Just never had a need to go back to it. Found that Google Chrome just did. I think the hook for Chrome was, it was just seamless across all your devices, and the passwords, I don't know if it was the first one to do it or if it just did it good enough that I didn't need to go anywhere else. But you log into a website on a PC and then you go to your phone and it caches your passwords and all your logins across all your devices, so you don't have to remember anything. Right. Okay, once this is brought in, next thing I tend to do is turn on the ruler and then see if the sizes are okay. So this looks like it's probably too small. I need to rotate it. It needs to be on its back side. So turn on the graph, pick up the entire thing, and then rotate it by that way, which is the red line. So that'll be X. So rotate 90 on the X and then put it on the ground. Okay. So if this So that's like 500 mil. And that's not right, is it? Because that's a meter long. Your engine's not going to be a meter long. So I need to scale the whole thing up by probably 10. And then put it back on the ground. That's about right, isn't it? If that's a jet engine off of a plane, it's probably about... Actually, that's probably a bit too big. Oh, does it even matter? Maybe it's modeled in inches. 2.54. 2 meters long? Meh. Might be about right. I will leave it at that. I mean, it's a rendering engine, so the sizes don't... The only time the sizes matter is when you're putting textures on it and you need the brush lines to sort of roughly be the right size. So it can sometimes... Maybe you can still get around that in different... Anyway, I'm just waffling. Right. Okay, so it's floating off of the ground. The reason it's floating off of the ground is because for some reason this model comes in with bits turned off that are kind of protruding out. So if you pick up the top and then go to the bounding box, there's like the bounding box goes all the way down there for reasons that I don't understand. So I would then go and optimize it. Optimize, and then I'd remove all the flushers like this, and then optimize, and then it'd be okay, and then it'll disappear. All the colors will vanish like that. And that's reduced the bounding box, but there's still something poking down there. I don't know what that is. Don't know what that is. But I would do that, and then the key here. I'm not gonna make a full scene. I'm just basically just gonna go through what I would normally do to get a decent-ish render without going kind of ridiculously far into it. And it depends if you're going to be ray tracing this or taking shots from this mode, OpenGL. So if you're going to be taking shots from OpenGL mode, I'd then go and start baking the shadows on it. So like, for example, pick up the ground plane of the environment, pick up the shadow plane, and then go to Scene, Bake Lights and Shadows, go to the settings, and then enable the ground plane, and then calculate the ground plane shadows. So it'll bake a shadow onto the ground, which is never strong. I mean, the engine is floating a bit off the ground, which means the shadow ain't too strong, but you can increase it a little bit like that. So you get a bit stronger of a shadow on it. But if I had more time, what I would then do, which I would always do this, I would pick up the entire model and then just go settings, load settings, car highest quality, and then bake shadows onto every single object. But that could take like an hour, depending on how many objects you've got. I don't know how long this would take. This might take a minute. It might take 20. I don't know. So I'm not going to do it. I could possibly do it a medium quality. Yeah, it's not going to take too long. So medium quality, yeah, I think given how long that's taken, if I'd done high quality, that would have took hours to finish. But these shadows that we're baking on, these disappear when you ray trace anyway. These are only useful if you're going to be taking pictures from this environment from OpenGL. But I would always do this bit. I'm just telling you what I would do. Is it ground? Is it ground? It's a German program, so I'm just trying to keep it in the theme, paying homage to the creators. You did bake the model. It didn't look like you'd baked the model, mate. So this is the model. Oh, you have yeah. I think with your scene. So this is the scene that Loon sent in that he did in VRED. There's clearly a few problems with it. I picked this from Discord, so it's gone a bit fuzzy. It's too dark, mate. I think that's one of the problems with it. It's too dark. It's not ray traced. Your background is all warped. You can see here the HDRI starting to warp down there. It's warping here, which you could have maybe got away with that one, but definitely not that one there. That's too much in focus. This shadow, whatever this is here, Don't know what that is. Even if that's like legit, that needs to be addressed because it doesn't look right. That doesn't look right there either. Again, even if that is a genuine shadow being cast from something, if there's like a light source somewhere in the scene which is casting that shadow, I'd rotate the scene to get rid of that shadow because that shadow just looks stupid. And that blinding white light there, I'd rotate the scene. But I'll show you how I would do all this anyway. But it's too dark as well. Like you've got this blinding bright light in the background of the scene, but then like the focus of the image, which should be the product, is really dim. I think that's one of the main problems with it. So right, this is how we do. So textures is next. So for cars, I've got my own saved material library that I'd use. So I would normally go like file, load materials, and then I'd go to my little hard drive, and then I've got like carbon fiber materials and leather and paints and stuff, which I would use for cars. But for inventor models, I would just use the standard material, the asset manager from VRED. So come into here, and then start dropping metals onto here. Like, I don't even know what this. I mean, it's an engine, obviously, but I don't know what materials these would be. Probably a hell of a lot of metal. So we'll just drop in a bit of matte. Crap. So what's happened? Bollocks. When I've optimized it, it's stripped off all the materials, so I can't assign materials by group. Oh, can I? No. Right, so we'll put some of these on like this, like this. I'll just assign materials to the exterior ones. There's not that many objects, so it won't take too long. That, and that. The nose cone, I'll probably put a bit of paint on that. That'll look decent with a bit of paint on it. What kind of paint though? Red. A bit of green. No, green. A bit of green. What kind of green? Metallic. Metallic dark green. Yes. Yes. And this should have a bit of orange peel in it. Nice flaky. Yes. Look at that. Even just on a nose cone, it looks nice. It looks nice. This is a bit dim for my liking. So the whole scene, the ambience is a bit dim. So there's a couple of, what I would do is I'd go to studio and I would increase the exposure to maybe 3, brighten it up. Or I would import a new HDRI. The standard VRED background is okay for cars because it's set up with, you see these blurry lights that I've got in the background. These look really nice against car bodies, but on mechanical parts, not so good. So on Matchatorial, if I still got that open, yes I have. In the description of this, there's a link to a studio environment, and that's the Keyshot background. And the Keyshot background is really nice. It's really bright. So I'll import that. I've got it saved in my Dropbox. Keyshot. Keyshot 4K. This one here. There you go. There you go. It's just brighter. It doesn't suit every object, but it's just brighter. So it's taking the shadows away because it's brought in a new ground plane. So I'll have to bake the shadow on the ground back on. So shadow plane, bake shadows, high quality. That's better. That's better. See, that's looking better already. That's looking much better already. Right, this bit in the middle here. What you are, I think that's going to be a nice bit of hammered metal. So mercury hammered. I mean, the hammered texture is a bit spread out, so I can change that. I can modify that. Go to the brush orientation, and then we can decrease this to 2.5 and 2.5, and that just decreases the pattern of the hammeredness, the bump map. 1 and 1. No, I prefer it at 2. 2.5 and 2. Oh, hello. 2.5. That's better. Right, that's him. And then what this thing here, I don't know what. The thing is, these things here, this is the inside of the engine. These things aren't even meant to be seen, so I don't even know what half of these things are. I don't know what colour that's meant to be, so I can just wing this, make it up as I go along. That's not going to be gold, is it? Put a bit of paint on this one. A bit of black paint. Metallic black. Metallic black. On you, sir. That there. Put a bit of contrasting plastic on it, because who doesn't want a bit of plastic in a jet engine? It's a Fisher-Price engine. Right, bit of plastic in there, and then that thing there, that can be chrome. Metal. Chrome on that. This thing here. So I'm going to turn. So when I select stuff, I always turn on wireframe, so then I know what I'm picking or what I'm going to put a material on, the extent of what's going to actually receive the material. So like when I'm about to drop a material onto this, and I didn't know whether that's the same object as all of this, so just turning on wireframe and then picking that, I know that these are now separate objects. It's just easy to see them with wireframe. Still don't know what they are. What the hell that thing there is? Front turbine hood. Turbine fan. Turbine fan. Of course it is. I don't know. A bit of chrome blind on you. Forget chrome blind. Chrome blind. Chrome. And then this bit of the... Oh, an unexpected pointy bit emerges out of nowhere. Oh, can we put a bit of carbon fibre on him? That looked good. That did look good. And then we put a bit of flippy floppy paint on him. And then is there any bolts in here? Yes, there is. Little fasteners in there. So a bit of aluminium polished in there. Is that picked up? Ah, oh, god damn it. They're all individual. Oh, I'm not putting a texture on every bolt. Right, we'll leave it at that. So that's as textured up as I want to make it, I think. The shadows are on, textures are on. Get out of it. So from here on in, you can either, if you're happy with like that, you can render out an image of that, or you can start dropping backgrounds in. I'd probably go to the camera, make a new camera, and I'd call this render. Double click into him, and then disable show cameras. If I'm going to do a render using one of the standard studio environments, you could then go into the light editor and then start playing around with area lights. So you can maybe create a new rectangular light. A little bad lad there. A little doobly what's it guy just floating, chilling in space. Drag him up. Ooh, it's an aggressive shadow. Where's your ticky box, mate? I'm in bloody wrong settings. Turn off. Well, okay then. Cast shadow on the shadow material is not working. That makes a lot of sense. Okay. Right, turn wireframe off, and then these area lights give you nice reflections like this. Nice little highlights on the model, which just, it's attention to detail. You can do absolutely fine without them. It looks good without them. With them, it can look a lot better. So you can drop those in, make it a bit more intense. And then it's at this point I'll probably start turning on ray tracing. Actually, I'm going to go back into cameras. Camera. I don't like, and this is just me, but I don't like the amount of field of view or perspective that there is on the standard camera. It's like very fish-eyed. So I prefer dropping this setting in the camera down to about 25. And if you don't know what that means, like if I crank this all the way up to 90, it's the same as in Inventor. If you hold down Control Shift and scroll the middle wheel, the camera changes and you get this kind of fisheye perspective-y kind of everything shooting off into the distance in an exaggerated way kind of effect. I don't like it. I prefer things to be more orthographic. It does depend on what it is you're looking at, to be honest. Like some car scenes, lower numbers in field of view looks better. Some of them higher looks better. It depends on what it is. There's no right setting for these kind of things. That was an invented tip, mate. It was. Shall we digress and I'll show you. I'm pretty sure I've covered this already in an inventor video. Most of this will be titanium. Well, glad I don't build engines then. Right, let's open up this. So to get this tip, you need to be in Inventor. I can do Sizer, can't I? Sizer to the rescue. Where's Sizer at? There he is. View, perspective, and then that's perspective mode. So you hold down Control, you can't see the keyboard, but Control Shift, and then scroll the middle wheel, and you can see that it just changes the amount of perspective on the camera. The physical model size isn't changing, it's just the amount of perspective on the camera. But then I think it resets after you orbit. I think. I don't know. Hold down F4 and then it'll stay that way. But it just looks... It might look okay for like ray tracing. You know. Drop a bit of ray tracing action on an Inventor with a bit of perspective on. I mean, after you've been in VRED for this long, that looks absolutely toilet, but there's your Inventor tip of the day. Right. So what was I doing? Right, so the area light, yeah. So field of view, settings in the camera. I'll then come into tone mapping and then play around with these in Filmic. Filmic boosts the contrast of the camera. It kind of applies an Instagram filter. It's the best way I can describe this. It's almost like an Instagram filter being applied over the top of the VRED camera. All the blacks get blacker, whites get whiter, and saturations kind of dropped down a bit. So greens and reds and blues are kind of dulled down a bit. Whereas Reinhard luminance is a very neutral kind of... I'm sure there's more technical explanations for what all these are, but Reinhard luminance is a more neutral kind of color profile. So when you render out your image and then you put it into Photoshop, it's a better starting point for then editing it further in Photoshop. But if you're just going to render it out from VRED and then not edit it in Photoshop, then Filmic's usually a good one to go with. So shall we stick with Filmic? Sure. Right. And then you can put a bit of glow on it if you want to. Glow just adds like little sparkly, shiny, blurry bits where there's like excessive amounts of exposure, which can look nice. Sometimes it looks stupid. And you can change the threshold. So, you know, if you don't want so much glow, you can increase the threshold where the exposure or the brightness starts to cause glow. So 5. So at a threshold of 5, this bit here is starting to glow because that's closest to the light. But then as you start to lower the setting down, you can see other bits are now starting to glow up. Then you can increase it. Increasing the glow, just it's like spreading out the glow. What am I doing? This is not a VRED training course. See, I carried away. Getting carried away again. Right, glow, and then, right, that's what I would do. And then I turn the light off because the light's not required to be visible. Like that. And then I'd go into render settings. These aren't in any particular order either. These are just the things I would tend to do to build a scene. But I'd go into render settings and I'd always change interactive to full global illumination. But that's because I've got a pretty decent PC. If your PC's not so good, then interactive, you might be best off leaving that to what it was, which I think is pre-computed in shadows. But I'd change mine to full global. And then I'd go to IBL and sampling quality and change still frame up to... the maximum's 8. 4's usually enough. The same for reflection, sampling quality. These IBL sampling quality for still frame has a massive impact on the end rendering time. So when you render out to a final image, this one has a massive impact on the rendering time. But it depends on what it is you're rendering out. I don't know if anyone's seen the... well, you can't see them. I've got them in the background. So these are VRED images that I've done. And all of VRED's rendering settings were done to the absolute max, completely maxed out, highest rendering quality, 4K max, and these rendered really quickly because there's just not that much detail. There's not that much in the scene. There's not much color. There's not much material. There's not much lighting. But if you've got more detail in the scene, the higher these settings, then the longer things will take. Trace depth, I'd jump that up to 32. And then in general settings, image samples, probably up to 512 for now. Denoiser, leave that off for now. And then turn on GPU ray tracing and then just take a gander at your hardware. That shadow should vanish. Toodles. Yeah. And then I run a test pass to see how it's looking. So yeah, it's a bit shiny. It's all a bit shiny. So if you're happy enough with the way that looks, cool. You could then go into render settings and then render that out to a file. If you want a background in though, you can go to HDRI Haven, download one of theirs, or McGround. Shout out to McGround for sending me a load of HDRIs, which I have somewhere in here. HDR backgrounds, McGround. I don't know if I've got anything that's really suitable for a jet engine. Oh, here we go again. Here goes Windows with its thumbnails. I don't even know what these are. Oh, that's a bridge. You wouldn't have a jet engine on a bridge. That's a nice background, that though. This is like a car background, but the HDRI is like a neon blue bridge, but it's kind of blurred out. And then these are the back plates. These look really nice. Can't wait to do an image with these. The likes of that. I mean, how good's that? Can you imagine dropping an awesome car onto that? That looks awesome. But that's McGround. Shout out to them. I should really have their logo. Oh, there it is. I've got that bloody logo in there. They've had the plug. Right. I can shut up about McGround now then. Right. So, racetrack. Nope, you wouldn't have a jet engine on a racetrack. Have I got anything decent? I thought I had a building or something in here. A beach. Would you put it? You wouldn't have a jet engine on a beach. It could be a plane crash. Let's go with that. The jet engines fell out of the sky and it's landed in, wow, 1.67 gig HDRI. That will crash. Is that the only one I've got? Huh. Okay, I'll go to my H. So what I've done, and if you're going to be if you're going to be using VRED a lot, I would suggest you do this. Go to HDRI Haven and then just download as many of these HDRIs as possible. And I've done that, and I've got an absolute massive bank of them. I've downloaded these 8K ones, these 16K resolution HDRIs, and then dropped them a couple of quid on a Patreon. I've been a Patreon for HDRI Haven for like a year, because this guy's just been knocking out some absolute mental HDRIs, and he's giving them away for free. Anyone can use them for commercial purposes as well. Right, I think I've got there's a garage here somewhere. Garage 8K. Let's go for that one. Do you know what, Loon, mate? You've got a good point there. I said before, blacks get blacker and white get whiter, and you've just written that, and your message got blocked. That's YouTube gone mad, mate. Absolute gone mad. Right, this garage is a bit... this is more of a home garage, isn't it? And that looks rubbish. This HDRI is very orangey. Not a fan of that one. I think I've got one called a Skylit garage or something. Ah, Skylit garage, there it is. This one's a bit brighter. It's a bit more yeah, that's the one I'm looking for. It's still not like a warehouse or anything, but it's better. Right, so from here, it's just a case of getting the environment to roughly the right size, which is tricky at the best of times. But you can take the overall dome and scale it up by... Where's my... I'm running out of screen space here, mate. Take the scaler, scale it up by 0.5. Okay, that didn't work. Down a bit. Down a bit. Got a bit of a weird kink going on there. This is the bit I've always had the most trouble with, is getting the background to the right. There isn't a right size, but just getting it to look right. And Pascal, the guy who runs VRED, product manager, he has sent me a video showing like some tips and tricks on this, but I still struggle. Is that a bit better? That's a bit better. Oh, the engine does look tiny. I'll scale this up a bit. That's a bit better. Right, so that I would do that. Oh, you would be there, wouldn't you, mate? You would be there. Just crank. Oh, that's working. Unexpected. Well, that was unexpected. Right, there we go. I basically just grabbed the entire dome and I just scaled it up. I mean, there's a weird kink there, but I think that doesn't look out of place, really. As long as this bit here is not warped, that doesn't look terrible. Oof. Gotta get the right shot. Yeah, that doesn't look good. But if you get the right angle for the shot, so I don't know, maybe like that, you can then go to the dome itself and then just rotate it like that. And there we go. And then that's pretty much it. That's how I would set up an inventor scene. To be honest, like, oh god, the bloody ground shadow thingy's gone. There it is. Oh, what's he doing? That's better. I probably wouldn't use an HDRI for this model. I'd probably use just the default studio type dome, but something like that. That doesn't look terrible. I think the shadow's a bit dark. That's because I increased it enough for the first one, so I can drop that down. And we've still got the area light kicking above, which, do we still want that? Probably not. Get rid of that area light, and then I'd probably just then experiment with like the exposure on the background, maybe brighten the background up. That's a bit better, isn't it? So yeah, it's like Loon on your HDRI, they all come in with an exposure value of 1, which is really quite dim. If you just increase it, see how high you can go before it starts to look a bit silly. The white balance, you can change the white balance as well. Make the image a bit cooler. Contrast. Oof, that was awful. 1.02. No, I'm going to leave that. Leave that well the hell alone. Saturation. Shadows still look a bit dodgy, but then it is floating in space. But hey, mate, there you go. That's bringing invented data in a VRED. In a couple, the normal steps in a quick nutshell. What I would go through, I'd spend a lot more time on each one of those steps, like getting the background a bit better, a bit more time on the materials. I'd fix those shadows. I get the composure, the composition of the shot better, so that it's not at a weird angle. Like, I would never have the engine sort of out of alignment with these white lines here. I'd probably try to get shot of them completely, because they detract from the scene. So maybe try and, I don't know, move them out of the way like that, perhaps. But then that's now going to warp that, and then I'd have to adjust that back to where it was. So. But yeah, there you go, mate. That's how I would... But I think for your scene, mate, you'd probably get quite a decent result just by going into the HDRI and increasing the exposure and just brightening the whole thing up, fixing those shadows on the ground. And then that'll give you some decent results. What's going on? Sorry, I've been following chat too much. Yeah, mate, I think for the video that I did, that I showed at the start of that, most of what I've shown there is in that video. Most of it. Not all of it, but most of it. So, have a follow through of that video. No, you didn't get the message didn't get banned, mate. It's just if you type something into chat and it's got a rude word in it, it puts the chat message into a review state, and then I've got to approve the chat message before it'll actually show. So it's not banned as such. Have I ever tried Blender? I've downloaded Blender before, but I've not dived into it. Blender's low on my priority list, to be honest. Like I've heard really good things about it. Obviously, it's very impressive. It's highly regarded, but it's like what I've said it before, and multiple other things. Like I've got such a huge stack of programs at the moment that I've got to try and keep on top of, that I can't really take on anything new. And if I did, Blender wouldn't be it. So there's VRED that I'm now keeping on top of, obviously Inventor, Vault, to a certain degree, not really AutoCAD, but I'm trying to keep an eye on AutoCAD. The whole YouTube thing, and multiple other programs, like Adobe Suite, just other things around the YouTube stuff that I'm doing that I need software for. So I've already got a lot of things I need to try and stay at the top of my game for, and taking on something else would be a bit much. But if I was, I mean, like Keyshot's another one that I've kind of got a license for. I'd probably want things. Keyshot and Blender are very different beasts. But I'd probably want to take on Maya or Max before Blender, if I'm honest. Which is counterproductive because there's a bigger audience on YouTube for Blender because it's free. People love free stuff. There's a bigger audience for free stuff. But Max and Maya, they're more valuable from a professional standpoint. And I'm not really all that into just taking on stuff because it's free and it'll attract more people. But yeah, Blender's not really on the to-do list, if I'm honest. And it looks like it's got a huge learning curve. And if I'm honest, I'm a little bit suspicious. I've got no right to be. Clearly, it's held its own. It's got a good reputation, and I'm sure it's deserved its reputation, and it's got to where it's at through merit. But it's something in the back of my mind that makes me a little suspicious as to how something can be free but also compete with it's supposed to compete with Maya and Max. That's where it's at. It's character animation. How can it be what it is and free at the same time? Where does the money come from for development? I'm a bit suspicious. I'm no right to be. There's nothing. Nothing to found that on. It's just one of those things, But no, it's not really on the to-do list. iLogic should be on my to-do list. Learning how to write code should be on my to-do list. And it's just not, Right. So, is there anything else you guys want to talk about? Is there anything else I want to talk about? Infusion CAD Challenge is tomorrow. I need to do the wrap-up video. I still haven't recorded the wrap-up video. That's on the to-do list. I haven't had any submissions recently, though. Probably about 15 to 20 submissions for this CAD Challenge, which is significantly less than normal. Which I guess is kind of good. It means it's a good challenge, and it's stumped a lot of people. So I need to do the video for that. So that'll be coming probably Sunday or Monday once I've filmed that. Have I used Twinmotion? No, mate, never heard of it. Not sure what that is. From Patreons like Ubisoft and Nvidia. Really? Why would Ubisoft and Nvidia fund Blender? What's in it for Nvidia? Nvidia have their own, it's not really a character animation, but they've got, is it Studio Works? And Nvidia, and they give, they and Unreal give millions. Really? Hang on a minute, what are you saying? You're saying Ubisoft, Nvidia, and Unreal. By Unreal, do you mean Epic Games? They give Blender millions. I would understand likes of Ubisoft and Epic Games to a certain extent. In fact, I wouldn't understand Epic Games because Unreal Engine is in some ways a competitor to... Is Unreal Engine is a competitor to Blender in some respects, isn't it? Because that's a character. You can do character animation in Unreal Engine. No, I know they don't own it, but I thought you were implying there that Unreal gives millions to Blender. I don't know. I mean, I'm 2 seconds. My TV's about to go into standby mode because of reasons I don't know why. I don't know. I mean, if they do, fair enough. I just don't understand. I don't understand Nvidia, to be honest, because Blender should be paying Nvidia to use the, optics, RTX, that whole thing. I don't understand what's in it for Nvidia. Nvidia don't really have anything to gain from Blender existing, whereas Ubisoft would, because Blender would contribute towards game assets and whatnot. So there's something in it for Ubisoft to have a Blender in existence, but Nvidia. Don't get that. I'm not doubting it. If they do, they do. But just don't understand where that would come from. Modeling's not something that Unreal handles well. Sure, but I'm still confused whether you were saying that Unreal gives Blender millions, though. I don't know. I don't know. Unreal Engine, I think I said this in a previous stream, from what I've heard, that's going to be big in the car industry, and I suspect it's already getting very big in architecture, in construction, for visualization. I've got a feeling Unreal Engine is going to take over a lot of industries over the next few years, which means a lot of the stuff that they're bad at, they might get better at. I don't think there'll ever be a parametric modeler. They just don't have. I wouldn't have thought they'd have the skill sets or really the intention. Where's the intention there to really focus on and compete with the likes of SolidWorks and Inventor and Revit and Creo and CATIA? There's nothing in it for them to compete. They won't have the skill sets internally to compete with all of those, but I think they'll be big in almost every industry over the next few years. Unreal gave Blender 1.2 million just last year. Well, what's that about, mate? I need to Google this, because 1.2 million in the grand scheme of things isn't that much money. So what was that for? That sounds very specific. I'm just Googling this. Unreal Engine funding. You're right. Unreal Engine developer Epic Games is giving the Blender Foundation, the non-profit organisation responsible for the Blender open source software, a $1.2 million cash grant. The money is earmarked to further the success of Blender. I don't understand why. Oh, sure, good for them. I mean, sure. Sure. I've got nothing really. I've got no opinions on that. I'm not in that world, so I don't know. That was last year, though. That was. Did you say it was last? Yeah, you did say last year. Yeah. I just don't know where Blender. I mean, where's Blender going? Where are they going with it? When you think about it, like, who is it for? I think someone said that it's used for some game assets. Sure. I don't know. All I know is what I would do, and what I would do is if I was running a AAA games company, I probably wouldn't want to use Blender. I'd probably want to use Autodesk, if I'm honest. As much as a lot of people hate them because they've had bad experiences with them, they're a bigger company. Autodesk are not a non-profit organisation. They've got support. They've got more to lose, shareholders and stakeholders and stuff. So animation modeling, game development, photorealistic rendering, video editing. Yeah, but who's using Blender though? Who's the end user? Like, who would choose to go for a kind of... I don't know. I'm saying this through pure ignorance. I don't know the back end of Blender. I don't know like what support structure they've got. Do they have a good support structure? Do they have a massive headquarters with good technical support? I don't know. Anyone into CG without a budget? Fair enough. Yeah, if that's who it is. And AAA. Oh well, yeah. I've downloaded it before and I had to play with it, but it was one of those ones where I was like, wow, this is going to take up a lot of my time, and I've got better places to put it, so I didn't dive too deep into it. Anyway, mate, right, I'm going to shoot. It's now 7:30. Been going for an hour and a half. That was the Tier 5 support desk. Like I say, Infusion Card Challenge is coming tomorrow. Stay tuned for that. Thanks for turning up. Welcome to all the new members. It was going pretty good. We are rapidly approaching 100 members, which is much more than I expected at this point, so I'm super chuffed with that. Yes, bye. Thank you very much, and tune in again next week. So this is later. I'm gonna have to look at the stats when I'm finished, but this was an hour later than last week again, so I went from 4 to 5 to 6 o'clock. So I'll check the stats to see how that did, but feedback welcome in Discord. Let us know in the Discord as well what you're thinking about those roles and groups. If you've got any opinions and feedback on what you want the roles to be, any imaginative role names for the roles, shoot. If you want to come up with something daft, shoot. What was the software I did for a few years ago for the quick architecture? That was Enscape, Escape. ENSCAPE, Enscape. It plugs into Revit. It's still going. I'm still getting mails from it. I haven't got a license of it anymore, but it was Enscape. It looks like it's come on really well as well. They're doing really good. Enscape. Right. Thank you very much. And I'll see you next week. And I'll see you over the weekend on Infusion, and I'll probably see you in Discord if you're members. Thanks very much. See you next one.